Hello and a very good afternoon to you. 12:30 this Sunday afternoon. It's Rupal's Chatty Women. Joining me on the show today are Marita Nibbs, MBE no less, and Toni Robinson, who runs her own business. Hello, both of you ladies.
Hello.
So, as usual, 3 topics, and I'm sat in a different place, so this feels a bit weird. I feel a bit lost.
I've got your seat.
You've got my seat, Marita. We'll find out a little bit about you guys in just a few moments' time, but we've got 3 topics. So your thoughts, please, as usual, in the comment section. If you like what you see, please share it. Please let us know with the emoticons, the love hearts, etc. So the empty nest syndrome is one thing I think we're going to be talking about on the show. And life after separation or divorce is another topic. And the third topic, self-criticism. Are we really our own worst enemy? Why do we do it? But before we talk about that, very briefly, Marita, just tell us who you are. MBE, no less.
Yeah. I usually forget I've got it.
Tell us what you do.
What, for a living?
Yeah.
I work for social services with adults with learning difficulties and mental health issues, particularly mental health issues. So I work for myself. I work on my own time, my own pace.
And this is what you received the MBE for, right?
No. I received that for charity work with Leicester Home Start, supporting mums and dads with parenting skills and with their children and helping them to sort of raise their children and advice and help and just guidance.
Fantastic. Toni, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I run my own business. Just started on the 1st of September to run my own business after working for 15 years for an employer doing a very similar thing. So I run a business offering outsourced HR services to commercial businesses.
Scary? Were they scary times?
Yeah, making that decision to go out on your own, even though you know you can do it and you know that you can offer something special to clients, still is a scary and daunting prospect to take it all on yourself and do it.
Can I ask you, ladies, both of you, separation and divorce? You are divorced. Twice divorced. And Toni...
Just the one separated.
Just the one separated.
Yeah. We'll be going there again.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about life after separation or divorce and how life becomes and how it changes. Marita, explain your situation briefly.
How does it change? You just learn to just cope, and then if you're depending on what you were like in your own marriage, if you were doing most of the things you were doing, you just learn to do on your own. But it's just that you don't have that backup. You don't have that other person to bounce off at the end of the day, etc., etc. You just have to use really good friends. And I've got really, 4 out of my 5 children, 4 grown up, so I bounce off them. But you just learn to manage and think singly. There's pluses. You make your own decisions, and so there are pluses. If you don't want to do anything, you just don't do it. You have to share.
You're not answerable to anyone.
No.
If it's clean, it stays clean.
Yeah, there is that as well. Yeah. So So you just learn to adapt. It is strange, and sometimes you're just happy for it to be as it is, and other times you think it would be nice to have someone to bounce off, just to lean on, someone else to say, "How was your day?"
I absolutely agree with that. The bit that I guess I miss is the bouncing off. Today, for example, I'm going to buy a car after this. I've never had to buy a car on my own, but I'm literally going to buy a car. That's a big decision to do when you're on your own and you know nothing about cars. I'd quite like to have somebody to go, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is this colour hideous? Does this colour suit me? That kind of thing. I'd like somebody to be able to go, yeah, it's fine. I just don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Other than a 9-year-old little boy who will go, not that blue. Not that blue, Mum.
I'm sure, because he's sat very quietly in the corner of the living room this morning. I'm sure he's got loads of opinions for you.
Oh, he'll share them.
But what? From your point of view, what's the hardest part? And what's the sort of? I mean, you've talked a little bit about some of the good bits.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part of sort of getting divorced?
2 incomes, the financial side. You have to think a little more, plan a little more. But at the moment, I'm embracing the positives. So I'm not thinking too much about the negatives. I am embracing the positives, and I am a coper. I'm one of these people that if I fell in a puddle, I don't sit there for too long. I just sort of get up, dust myself off, and I get on with it. So, and I've got amazing older girls as well. You were just saying about buying a car. The last car I bought was the first car I ever bought on my own, and I remember leaving my car to be serviced as I'm walking off the drive, looking at a car and thinking, "Oh God, that car would suit me," but then thinking, "Would it?" Doubting myself, "Would it?" And then having to ring my daughter Tara and say, "Mum's thinking of buying a car. Meet me at the car lot." You know, I had to bring her along to have a look at it, to test drive it with me, etc., etc. I did need someone to bounce off. Yeah. So there's things like that, having somebody. But do you know what? There's nothing that you can't subsidise with an older. Overcome with an old without using, if you've got older children or a really good friend.
That's it, really. I guess for me, the most recent decision of starting up my own business, you know, knowing that I'm doing it all on my own, knowing that I've got all my own personal commitments, and then sort of going, actually, if this goes wrong, you know, you are wholly responsible for, you know, a 9-year-old boy, and, you know, and to be honest, I was the breadwinner before, so I try and help wherever I can with the situation, you know, with my ex, and I try, but knowing that I might not be able to do all of that because, you know, this business has got to start, and although I've got clients that have come with me and I've got a better start than most would, it's still quite...
It's daunting.
Yeah, it really is. And that's the bit, I think, if you had somebody next to you and another income, you wouldn't feel quite as anxious about it all, because deep down we all know we can do it. You know, that's the bit. But I'm pretty much similar to you in the fact that, you know, I embrace the positives of, you know, being separated. You know, I do like the fact that I make my own decisions. I like the fact that I can choose my own sofa. It's mad things that I quite enjoy.
What you might want.
And things are left clean all the way they're left as you left them.
Every other week I have a show home.
Yeah.
Every other week I have a 9-year-old come and live with me, and it looks like I've been burgled. But every other week I do have a show home.
We'd love your thoughts.
But it's quite natural though to feel, you know, the pressure of starting out on your own, because, you know, you are the foundation of everything you do. Yeah. So, you know, if you get it wrong, the effects, you're feeling, if I get this wrong, this is going to affect me and my son and my life. So that pressure does weigh heavily on you more than if you probably had somebody else in hand. But, you know, you've done it before, so you can definitely do it again.
I guess I'm a little bit lucky because I've got clients that have come with me, and I've got a good business network around me.
And you're good at what you do.
Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I'm lucky because I have got people to catch me or go, no, that is the right decision. So I have got those people around me.
So as long as you've got the support, whether it's family or otherwise, you know, there is life after separation and divorce. We'd love your thoughts on it, please. Make sure you leave your comments. If you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. The Mystery Voice is in the background. Hello, Mystery Voice.
Hello. We've just had Lee ask, if Rupal's in the wrong chair, where's the Mystery Voice?
Oh, brilliant. All right, Lee, and you as well, if you are watching, we'd love your thoughts on separation and divorce and life after. Has it been an easy process for you or slightly harder? Let me ask you about being a parent and the empty nest syndrome. Now, we've heard of this. It's this time of the year, particularly students and that will go off to university, and lots of parents will be grieving over it. But Marita, you're both parents.
Yeah.
You were watching the telly last night, and you saw something, a great example of the empty nest syndrome, didn't you?
It wasn't quite that wasn't quite the empty nest syndrome. That was the parent not really wanting to let go. I came home from a party and watching X Factor, and there was as many people probably saw, there was a mother and daughter who were actually singing together, but Simon Cowell only wanted the daughter. I was just amazed at the mother's reaction as she started to have a breakdown of not wanting to let go of her daughter, because she wanted the limelight as well, and she didn't want her daughter to go on without her.
But it kind of made me think about the empty nest syndrome.
Yeah.
You've got children.
Yes.
You have how many?
5 girls.
5 girls. Yeah. Have they been sort of past that university stage?
They're the various ages. I've got 2 27-year-olds, 22, 20, and a 10-year-old that's still at home. The 3 older ones have been to uni and working in their field, their chosen field, but the 20-year-olds at university. And I felt it a bit this year because she came home for quite a long while, and went back to Cardiff a week ago, and I am feeling it. Even though I've got Natasha still at home, I am feeling it. But you just adapt. She's adapted. She's fine. She's getting on with it.
What were you like the first time though? For any of them?
I didn't feel it the first time. Although actually no, the first time was one of my twins, and she went, and we dropped her at Liverpool. And I remember waving her goodbye, and the girls were in the car because we went for the weekend, and they said, "Are you okay, Mum?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I was like, "But don't ask me anything else until we're never going to get home. If I start crying, we're not going to get home." So I drove back to Leicester, and I remember it took one phone call of somebody saying on the phone, my sister-in-law Frankie said, "How's Tara?" And that was it. Floods of tears just came pouring out, and I'm like, I couldn't control it. I just started crying because she was gone, and she was the first one to go, and she was gone, and she was, didn't feel it so much after that. I got into a rhythm of it, of missing them, but kind of, but balancing, life. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that you've just got to get used to. But you need to plan for it as well. I mean,
in what way? How do you plan for?
Well, I think it's with my work, with volunteer work with Home Start, it was always supporting mums and getting them to recognise there has to be a balance of life. Children, partners or husbands and yourself. There has to be some self in there. And as women, we don't put ourselves in there. We put other people first. We never put ourselves first. And all the way through having a family, as hard as it is, you have to find time now and again. And it doesn't necessarily have to be every week, but you have to find time to put something in there for yourself, so that as your children grow and you adapt and you get from different stages, when you know they're heading towards A levels and probably going to uni, they're more independent, start branching out and doing things a little bit more for yourself, so that you've not got this sudden door shutting in your face that they're gone, and then you're sometimes looking at partners and husbands and thinking, I don't know you. You need to, which often happens. It's quite a, it's quite a poignant time for people to get divorced.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always thought, I don't want children. I'm never going to have children, and I don't have children as such, and because I'm quite selfish in that sense. It's like
it's not selfish though.
Yeah, but but it's really interesting because like my sister and my nephew, and she's going to probably hate me if she watches this. Will say, I mean, she's really struggled. My nephew went to university last year. Not only my sister, but my older sister, both of them, because she's like a second mum to my nephew, and they both really struggled with letting him go to university, and he's not gone to a million miles away. Yeah, but it's like you've got to let go, Toni.
You do.
You've got that to come.
You've got that to come.
I don't know if it would be any easier for me because of the fact that during the separation, what we agreed is a 50-50 care. So we have it's like 51-49 really in Dad's favour. So I see my little boy every other week. So he comes to live with me every other week, which is wonderful, and I wouldn't change that week for the world. But every other week he goes off to his dad and I don't really see him. So I don't know if I'm better prepared in the way that most parents don't get to be prepared that way, because I do have a week where I get I don't have him anyway, so I get that sort of separation, if you like, from him anyway. So maybe I might not struggle as much as others, but if he wants to go to uni, if he wants to go off, I'm the one that goes, go follow your dream. Yeah. I want him to follow his dream, whether that's be a professional sports person, whether it's he wants to go off and to uni, he can do whatever he wants to do, as long as he's a happy boy.
See, I think I'd probably be a very protective mother. Mystery Voice, have we got any questions, any thoughts, anyone watching?
Yes, we have. We've got loads of people watching, and Orchid Greens just joined, as has Prafula Joshi.
Thank you for joining us. Your thoughts on the empty nest syndrome? Is it something that you've just gone through, or you've got some advice for parents who are leaving their children or sending them off to university or separated in some shape or form from them. Please leave your comments. We have Marita, Nibbs and Toni Robinson with one final topic on Rupal's Chatty Women this week, and self-criticism, because we somehow got talking about something, Toni, that you were involved in, something called the L factor. Tell us about how that
hop, skip and a jump. Right, so L factor is a thing that I actually believe it might have been Ian Geiler, who's very well known in the Leicester business circuit, is his brainchild. And it's a charity event that local Leicester business people get involved in, and they have to raise £1,000 for Lord Taverner's charity and you get to sing. And I always thought I could sing. I always wanted to be a singer. And then I got to the point where I actually did do it. What I found is that I could absolutely raise money for charity. What I also found is I definitely can't sing. I was devastated. I was absolutely traumatised. What I found and you very kindly said, no, I'm sure it's not that. I'm sure it's not that. It's just your view. No, I think quite a few people did actually agree with me. I can't.
But Marita, you were saying that we are self-critical, aren't we? Quite a lot.
We're far too critical of ourselves. And it's and in a way that we sort of drag ourselves down and think things about ourselves that other people aren't even thinking.
Why do we do that? I
think it's a woman thing. But you said something quite interesting about job applicants looking at job.
I think women are far more self-critical than men. I think that's something that we do. And I'm not a women in business girl. I'm not, that kind of girl. I think people are successful because they are who they are. It's not because they're a woman or a man. It's because they've tried hard and they work hard. I'm that, I believe that. But I do also know that there are statistics out there that would say that if a job is advertised, a lot of women would see a job and go, right, I can do all of that element of a job, say 90% of it, and I can do, but I can't do that element there, so I'm not gonna apply for it. And man, it's the mirror image opposite. So they could probably say, well, I can do that bit there, but I can't do any of that, but I will apply.
Wow.
And, and it's because of women, we don't have enough inner belief in ourselves that we can actually do these things. And we should actually just be confident enough to go, do you know what? I might not be able to do that, but given a chance, given an opportunity, the right support, the right training, I would absolutely be able to do that.
Yes.
Are you like that, Marita?
What, critical?
Self-critical.
I can be, and then I just sort of give myself a bit of a wake-up call. So I can be. I spend, I'm quite good at staying positive. I'm quite good at, staying in the now. But I am human, so I do have moments when I am quite critical of myself. And again, it doesn't take me long before I actually give myself a talking to and bring myself out of it.
Wow.
It's not necessarily career-wise where my confidence dips. That's not it. Career-wise, I know arrogantly, I know I can do what I set out to do. I've got a strong work ethic, and I drive. My determination and drive for that is not really my issue. I think my self-confidence or my criticism comes from my own physical appearance. That's where I think women are our own worst enemy, in the fact that we would stand there, and because we don't look like society says we might have to look, we turn around and think that we're not good enough. And I think that's horrendous. I think we should all help each other a little bit more and go, do you know what? You look fabulous. We all look fabulous. Why can't we just believe that?
So there's something about, not celebrating our uniqueness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think as kids, we're a little bit like that. We're not, I tell my little boy he's gorgeous all the time and, and all of those things. And I want him to genuinely believe that he is, because he is. But, I guess I felt I probably wasn't told that. I don't know whether it comes from being a kid or...
I think it's and I don't think it's necessarily the telling them that they're brilliant. It's actually just giving them an air of confidence.
That's it.
Of belief in themselves and confident in themselves and being comfortable with themselves and actually celebrating the fact that they are unique. And we are unique in but we are our worst enemy. Most of the time, you know, like for instance, I was going on holiday earlier this year, and I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to lose a stone before I went on holiday with Tash earlier in the spring. And then I was so busy that by the time it came to going away, I suddenly realised, like, the day before, I hadn't done anything. So I thought, well, nothing's going to happen overnight. So I just told myself, well, do you know what? You're going to meet people who've never seen you before. Yeah. They don't know whether you've not lost any weight or whether you've lost 4 stone over the past year. So I just mentally told myself, just pretend in your head that you've lost 4 stone. So just behave and act fabulous.
What a great idea. What a great idea. Because I am particularly quite self-critical. Because you know, my thing is, I guess it's like if you criticise yourself, it doesn't give the next person the opportunity to criticise it because you've done it yourself already.
But
which
they
is probably
going to.
But they may not have, they may not have wanted to do that in the first place.
Yeah,
I'm like you. I do it because I do it before somebody else can.
Yeah.
So I do it as a self-defence mechanism.
Sabotage.
Yeah. Sabotage ourselves.
Yeah.
I do that.
Advice very quickly then that you would give other women or blokes watching the programme right now about not being self-critical, Marita?
Just believe in yourself. Just kind of look at yourself and look at your uniqueness, and focus on the good and the positive. We've all got something that we're good at, you know. And equally we've got things that we're not so good at. So just focus on the positive.
Toni?
I guess, but similar in that way, and I think sort of everybody is somebody special, and whilst I might not be everybody's, ideal, I am eventually going to be somebody special.
That's true. Yeah.
And you will find that, and I will find that. Just maybe not right now.
But it will happen.
But it will.
Great words to end the show with. Have we any last comments, Gala, if you've been watching?
Lee just said, Janice Phillips last week's Gust is watching everyone spray hi to Janice. Sorry, that went wrong. I meant let's say hi to Janice.
Okay, Janice, who was on the show a few weeks ago. Thank you so much for joining us on the programme. So now you're going to believe, aren't you, Toni, that you can sing. I'm not going to make you do it. But let's practice for the next time. Thank you for joining us on the show. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye.